Hello, everyone. It's a special time today to have a guest here at Provident Tutorials. So I'm happy to have you. Well, to get settled and have this interesting conversation, can you please just tell me, or how should I address you today?
Okay, hi everyone. Thanks for the opportunity being here. So my name is Adedire. So that's my first name, Adedire Adeciji.
Okay, so I can address you as Adedire, right?
Yes.
All right, Adedire, thank you. And how are you feeling today?
Oh, feeling good, feeling awesome. And you?
Oh, well, it's a pleasure. I'm doing good this weekend and I'm just trying to catch up with so many things and, having this kind of conversation with you, which I believe strongly that is going to impact someone out there who is going to see this video. Well, just to start with, can you probably share with our viewers how you discovered Prof. Dan tutorials?
Yeah, so I mean it was on a WhatsApp group chat that I had joined some times ago, where a community of people, just talk about the EB1, EB2, and somebody posted that you were having a live session on YouTube at that time. So I just hopped on it, and that was how I got stuck on your channel.
Okay, that's great, and it's nice following up with you at this time. Thanks for letting me know that. Briefly, the idea of this session is we know it's all about success indicators. Just to let people know that you applied for EB2 NIW, the National Interest Waiver, and you receive approval. I'm just trying to set a little background. And so the idea is to, ask you some questions in form of a discussion between you and me, and you can, encourage someone out there. So to start with, I just want to ask you, can you briefly share your background and pathways as demonstrated in your petition?
Okay, so my background, basically, I had my undergrad back in Nigeria, where I studied mechanical engineering, and finished with a first class. And then right after, nearly a year after, I came here into the US to start my PhD. So I'm currently in the second year of my PhD, also studying mechanical engineering, with a research focus of accelerating material research in using tools like robotics and autonomous systems. So that's my background. In terms of the routes that I followed, for the petition for alien immigration, it was the EB2 NIW, and the subcategory that I used was exceptional ability, since I don't have an advanced degree yet.
All right, that's interesting. Thanks for sharing that. I would probably like you to speak more on this exceptional ability, because there's this misconception out there that you must have an advanced degree. Obviously, you've just told us that you moved right from bachelor's degree to PhD, which means that master's degree was not there and you didn't have work experience, like 5 years progressive work experience just after your bachelor's degree. That's a kind of misconception that people feel you must have an advanced degree to qualify for this petition. So can you speak briefly to the exceptional category aspect?
So I mean, I remember I was just going through the USCIS website, and was trying to understand what each criteria means, and the different routes. So I was going through the EB2, and I know a lot of people actually mentioned that, oh, you need or you must have an advanced degree. And I'd say that's in itself. So I'd already, because I knew that I would need an advanced degree, right, to apply for the EB2 because of the common misconception. I already started making arrangements on how to at least get, my master's once I'm done with my coursework, without knowing that there are actually routes that you necessarily don't have to use an advanced degree for the same EB2. So I was going through the website, and then I noticed that under the under the employment-based category 2, um, you either need an advanced degree, which is a subcategory, or you are a person of exceptional ability, which is another subcategory. Now, there are people that have both. There are people that have either one of them. Some people in their petition combine both. So I felt like, okay, since I don't have an advanced degree yet, that means I can shoot for the exceptional ability subcategory, since I'd met like at least the minimum requirement, which is 3 out of 6 criteria, and I actually filed in for 4 of the criteria. So that was how I knew about the or how I demystified the misconception, because I went through the USS website and it was clearly stated there that it is all and not a case of hand. So I filed under the exceptional ability subcategory. So hope I answered the question, or is there
Oh,
more?
definitely, Adedire. Thank you for sharing that. But can you briefly touch on some of the criteria that you used for this exceptional ability?
So there are 6 of them. Now I probably would not like say it exactly the way it's
Right.
written in there, since I'm just saying it offhand. But the first one, which I guess is the number one there, is that you should have a degree in the area of exceptional ability. Now, this degree can be any educational degree, basically, relating to your area of exceptional ability. So I had a bachelor's degree, and my area of exceptional ability was in autonomous material engineering. So I just, that was my first criteria. So what I did was to ensure that I didn't just state it and make it sound like it is obvious that mechanical engineering is related to autonomous material engineering. I also had to, I did like an evaluation of my credential. So more like I used IEEE. You can use West, you can probably use anything, but more like a comparison of what is obtainable here in the US. So like my Bachelor of Engineering in Mechanical Engineering in Nigeria, by the time they did the evaluation, was equivalent to a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering here in the United States. So, that in itself was just me proving to them that I have a degree. And then I also proved to them that, okay, I have a degree in the area of my exceptional ability. So I started mentioning like some courses that are taking in mechanical engineering back in my undergrad that was closely related and in its combination to like you knowing more about autonomous material engineering. So like control theory, programming, materials. So I just stated all of that. And I also mentioned the fact that I finished with the first class, not just stating that or presenting the fact that I have a degree, but also trying to explain how that my degree positions me, to actually be an exceptional person. And then I moved on. The second criteria was, I think members, now in no particular order, but membership of professional associations. So I mentioned a couple of associations that I belonged to, like the largest mechanical engineering body here in the United States, like American Society of Mechanical Engineers. Mentioned even like the professional organizations that I was back in Nigeria, like the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Nigerian Institution of Mechanical Engineering, and all of that. Like, just try to give as much details, and also the ways that I've also participated in the organization. So like maybe I've served as publicity manager in this organization, I've served as this in this organization, mentioned all of that just to talk more into that criteria or that criterion. And then mentioned out that I had received remuneration in the area of my exceptional ability. So in this one, I mentioned maybe like when I was invited for a talk that was relating to tech, and I was paid for it. Or like even my program here, since a lot of PhD programs in the United States are fully funded, relating how that my stipend as someone who does research is based on the fact that I'm doing research that is relating to my area of exceptional ability, and I get paid for it. So with all of that, that's already like, fulfills that prong, attaching evidences for every statement that I make. So I also, the other criterion that I went into was that I've been recognized for like significant contribution. Recognized by either an organization, business organization, association, the government, or even by my peers for my significant contribution relating to the area of my exceptional ability. So in this, I mean, been like reviewer for journal, spoken to that, and also try to explain why it's significant. Because sometimes some things are significant, you would think you would assume that the adjudicating officer should know that, but it is in your position to explain why it is actually, why your case or why your criterion, how you met the criterion or why it's significant. So I had to do that. And also different examples of when I got awards, what's the selection criteria of the award was and why it actually, or how I've been, how I was selected rather for that award and why my contribution was like significant. So all those things, just trying to like point out to this fact or this evidence and speaking into it, based on the criterion that I wanted to fulfill. So those were the four things or four criteria rather that I used in my application.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adedire. You've really touched on so many things. I hope our viewers get one or two things out of this. All right, so just one more question to ask you. Now, before then, we know that USCIS requires that petitioners demonstrate through pieces of evidence that they are well positioned to advance their proposed endeavor. Now, most self-petitioners believe that the petitioner must submit recommendation letters, otherwise called expert letters. Can you please run us through your thoughts on this, knowing you didn't include any of such letters? To our viewers, no reference letters. Adedire didn't include any reference letters in his submitted petition. So, what would you say to this?
So, I'd say there's actually a lot of misconception out there regarding the application generally. So, which there is really no gold standard really outside of what USCIS says. And that was what I got to understand. I mean, learning from people's experiences is important. Definitely what people say, what people have done. But at the end of the day, the determining factor or what you're trying to pursue is based on what the USCIS says. So when I went through the website, I realized that a lot of people were talking about like expert letters. And I noticed that there was no particular place in for the EB2, aside from the points where, or the criterion that talks about you getting letters of recommendation if you've had 10 years of experience, stating that, oh, I've worked here, I've done this. So I saw that there was really no place that it says that on USCIS website. So I was like, okay, if I meet this criteria and I provide primary evidence, now there's a part of the USCIS website that talks about different types of evidence, so like the primary evidence and secondary evidence. So if you don't have a primary evidence that shows whatever you're trying to prove, then you can provide a secondary evidence. Now, where I now to an extent, saw a more convincing information about this. And now the reason why I did not use a reference letter at first, or didn't want to use one at first, was because I wanted to put in my application in time. Not because I was under a time crunch, but because I just did not want to spend, you hear people saying, they're putting the applications together in 4 months, 3 months, which is fine. That's the pace that they've decided to go with. But I just felt like, I can put this up in good time. So I put everything, I started in 1 week and I submitted. So I knew that if I wanted to finish in time, I might not be able to start reaching out to people. I need this, and I wanted to submit in time so that I don't have to keep putting so much effort into it when I can just start and finish it at once. So there was what I then saw. So on USCI's website, if you like search for maybe administrative appeal office, exceptional ability, EB2, all those keywords, what they've done on their website is that for cases that have been appealed, maybe rejected or accepted after appeal, they actually put it on their website so people can read and learn. So, oh, why was this case actually rejected? Is it that this person did not explain? Like, you see some people with actually exceptional profiles who don't get accepted because their petition was not written rightly, or maybe there was something that was looking fishy in their petition. So I gave so much time into understanding why different petitions were rejected. And there was something that they actually wrote in some of these petitions, and I'll read it. It says here that even when written by independent experts, letters solicited by an alien in support of an immigration petition are less weight than pre-existing independent evidence. So what this means is that if you want to use a letter from a recommender to support your application, I mean, it's great, but that should not be your primary evidence. It should be like a support with an evidence you're providing. And they say that it is, excuse me, it's of less weight than a pre-existing independent evidence. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, so that means a letter of recommendation is not actually the backbone of my application. And that's why I went ahead, submitted pre-existing independent evidences to support my application. So.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just a quick follow-up. But did you, honest business here, did you had any fear?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So it was premium processing, the fear of what if it does not fall through, like I'm losing this money. That was my greatest fear, I'll say. So I was definitely afraid, not because I had not really sat down to put in the work in writing my petition, making sure it was good, but I mean, just because everybody, I don't think there's anybody who would like put in a petition and would not have some element of like, fear there. But I guess that's why some people would say, oh, just do premium so that you don't have to, so that you don't have to be afraid. But I mean, at the end of the day, it still boils down to the person and what the person is able to do away with. But definitely I was every single time I would be checking my case, like, oh, have they said anything? What's the status now? No, yeah.
And in particularly for not including reference letters, did you have any concern?
So, of the truth, I did not have any concern in that regard, for the fact that the USCI has stated it clearly that when you actually solicit for a letter, it is of less weight than a pre-existing evidence. So when I saw that, I was just at peace that I really did not have to include reference letters. Now, it's not like a popular thing, amongst things that people talk about in the employment-based application, EB2 NIW. But when I saw that on the USCI's website, I just knew, obviously, they have the standard, right? So I just followed through with that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adedire. I think it's interesting and important to put it out there to our viewers that well, the talk about recommendation letter, just as Adedire said, is that it's just one of the many evidences that you can supply or add to your petition. The truth is that the reference letter does not have to be included, provided you have evidence or other evidences or exhibits or artifacts that you can include to support all your claims. So I think what is important to tell people out there is that peradventure, you have made a claim in the body or content of your petition, and you couldn't find any other exhibit to back it up. In that case, you probably will find your reference letter useful. I hope I'm right, Adedire.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So Now, one last thing. So, which of the Prof. Dan tutorials videos did you find most probably useful or that assisted you?
So I was right in the middle of putting my petition together when I stumbled on your tutorial or your live video at that time. And when I joined in, I think I was wrapping up the second prong into the third prong, and I was thinking of like different ways to actually write my third prong. And so while you were talking, I sent in a chat about different questions like, oh, about publication, should I include all the pages? And then I asked you about the third prong. And in my mind, I was thinking, oh, maybe I was right in the way I'd already framed what I was proposing to write in my thing, the third prong. So when you said, oh, you should not write it this way, and you redirected me to a video where you actually talked about the third prong and used a sample to explain, that video was definitely helpful, because I'm sure that if I'd gone the routes that I wanted to go, the way I wanted to write my third prong, I would have probably got like an RFE. So I went to that video. So I would say that was for me the video that other videos were awesome. I watched other ones too, but at that time of application, that was like the most important to me, and definitely made it pull through too. Because every single prong, proving every single prong was important or is important. So yeah, that's the
Right.
video that for sure was.
You're very right, Adedire. Thanks for sharing that. It's also important to put outside there that people that are self-petitioning often find writing the third prong kind of challenging or difficult. And some would say, oh, it doesn't really make much sense, just coin part of the first one and the second one together. But overall, what I can suggest is it still depends on how you respond to what USCIS wants in the third prong. And it's my advice that for people, you find any aspect of your petition challenging, look for resources that can be of help. Now, is that social media, YouTube resource the gold standard? Not really, but when people share their experience, it's your own decision to you know scan it out and see which one applies to you, which one you want to use or not. So again, thank you for acknowledging that. And finally, as we begin to wrap up, do you have any final thought or advice to someone out there, maybe a mechanical engineer, who is deciding or wishing to apply for NIW or even another field?
Um, I'd say first thing with what I've experienced and with what I've also seen other people go through. I'd say first things first is when you want to start out on this journey, um, try to two things: get as much information. You can get as much information in two ways. Going to the USCIS website and using resources. I mean, resources like Prof. Dan's page. He has so many things broken down that you can literally understand what you need, maybe a legal person to break down to you. You can understand it in 30 minutes, in 20 minutes, just watching a video or a couple of videos on this page. And there are a lot of resources out there. Read as much as you can, watch a lot of YouTube videos that would explain some of these things, even if you don't understand like what a person is saying about the NIW. Just read it. At some point, when you get to a certain level in the application, you then begin to put all the information and pieces together. That, oh, when I saw this, now I understand what they were saying. So I think first thing, which is very important, is information. Information through the USCIS website, which is the standard, right? Like anything that is there, that's what you should take as true, right? But then they would not break down everything to you, like some of the little secrets, and that's why you have platforms like this to explain certain things, use examples of people that have got it. So I think information for me is key. Once for everyone out there who wants to embark on this journey, get the information, get the right information, and Also, another thing is that you can do it. Now, this is not to undermine the effort of lawyers. It is important, like you can pay for consultation, you can use a lawyer, but it's also important that you understand the way it works, because a lawyer would not necessarily write your petition for you. They would guide you through the process. It is what you want to do, so you have to put your thoughts down. So I would advise that, just understand the process. If you want to self-petition, you can do it. You don't have to put in 5 months into your application in order to submit. Like, I did it in a week, started and submitted in a week. Now, it does not have to be a week, but I'm just trying to say that whatever timeline that you have in mind, it's definitely achievable. So self-petition is possible. Get as much information as you can. I think for me, that's my advice to everyone. Like, the little information, even as little as where you're sending it to. I was almost going to make that mistake, at the tail end, how to put your petition together. Like, how do you bind it? Like, all those things can actually affect the speed of how they process your petition. How do you use separators and things like that? Like those little things. So I think information is key. Like, get the information as in many places as you can, but make sure that at the end of the day, it's converging towards what the USCIS is saying. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adedire. I think we're gonna end it here today. Thanks for your time. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. It's good to know of your success, and we wish you more wins. And even when the time comes, changing your status to permanent residency, we hope that everything goes smoothly with you and your research. Thank you once again.
Yeah, thank you so.
All right. Thank you so much, Adedire, for sharing your success story with us. We wish you all the best. Now, to our viewers, don't forget to hit the subscription button to join our amazing community. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Your support means the world to us. And thank you all for watching, and I will see you again in another video. Now, besides, if you want to share your story with Prof. Dan Tutorials, please feel free to send us an email available in the description section or in the chat section of this video. Thank you and bye-bye.